Today, in the cutest voice, my 10-year-old son asked me to start recycling. I chuckled and asked why. He replied, "So you can help me save the planet." I chuckled again and asked, "Why do you want to save the planet?" "Because that's where I keep all my stuff." That sweet innocence. A boy in a wheelchair saw me desperately struggling on the crutches with my broken leg and offered to carry my backpack and the books for me. He helped me all the way across the campus to my class, and as he was leaving, he said, "I hope you feel better soon." That gesture of kindness. After 72 hours shift at the fire station, a woman ran up to me to the grocery store and gave me a hug. When I was tensed up and she realized I didn't recognize her, she let her tears in joy and her eyes almost in a sincere smile and said, "On the 9/11 crisis, you carried me out of the World Trade Center." Simple act of kindness, innocence, gratitude, love, and affection can change somebody's life forever. The world does not need more successful people. It does desperately need peacemakers, healers, storytellers, and lovers of every kind. It needs people of more courage, willing to join, to fight, to make the world a more habitable and humane. And these qualities have little to do with success as we have well defined it. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to one and all who have taken their valuable time to be present here this evening. I'm Rotarian Kritika Madhu, the MC for the evening. To invoke the gracious presence of the Lord with peace, harmony, and absolute tranquility, can we have the Shanti Mantra resound in our ears?
सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु
President Rotarian Sharat Kumar to kindly call himself and call the meeting to order.
The meeting ABCD of Peace is called to order. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Requesting Rotarian Deepan to deliver the four-way test.
Good evening, Rotarians. The four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
Thank you, Deepan. A positive thought is an inspiration by itself. Can I request Rotarian Saravanan to give us the thought for the day?
Vanakkam, good evening. Thought for the day. Love makes our friends a little dearer. Joy makes our heart little lighter. Faith makes our path little clearer. Hope makes our life lighter, little brighter. Peace brings us all little nearer. Peace begins with saying sorry. Peace begins with not hurting others. Peace begins with honesty and trust. Peace begins with showing cooperation and respect. Peace begins with me. Good evening once again. Thank you, friends.
Inviting our most dynamic president, Rotarian Sharat Kumar, to kindly welcome the August gathering.
You cannot separate peace from freedom because no one can be at peace unless they have freedom. With these words, I welcome DG AKS Rotarian Muthu Palaniappan, Chief Guest AKS PDG TR of Trustee Rotarian Geeta Manik of 9212, DGN AKS VR Muthu of 3212, PDGs are ever supporting district officers. The wonderful peace scholars, Rotarian Vasanthi Ranganathan, District Chair of Alumni Office of 3232, and Miss LALITHA Murali, Rotary Alumni of 2019-2020. Dear Rotarians from Milwaukee, North Shore of RID 6270, my dear RCGNs and their families, co-presidents, co-secretaries, and friends from other Rotary clubs, Rotractors, the wonderful teachers or gurus as we call, special invitees, and a few prospects who have joined us for today's meeting. Also acknowledging a word of appreciation to RID-elect AS Venkatesh and AG Vidya Srinivasan for helping us to connect with Rotarian Geeta Manik. A silent classroom does not mean that students are at peace. You can be at peace even in the most chaotic market or a bazaar. While I did read a few lines about peace education in action, it covers model kindness and empathy, repair, don't punish, create a democratic space, use experimental learning, give a voice to the excluded, encourage collaboration in diverse groups, discuss controversial issues, integrated service learning. I am sure we here will learn and observe more from today's session. Our club's theme for the year is Joy of Giving. What more happiness can we get when we also share the joy of spreading peace and happiness to the minds of our youth? Thank you, friends, and be inspired by today's meeting. Welcome once again.
Thank you, President. Now we get on to the main agenda of the program. Rotary has not grown by virtue of the fact that a suitable formula has been devised. It has been worldwide in its influence because of the untiring efforts to extend it. One such find of the Rotary is our AKS DGN VR Muthu. He will be delivering the inaugural address. May I call upon Rotarian Shiva Shankari from the Alumni Office to kindly introduce DGN VR Muthu.
It's my privilege and honor to introduce AKS DGN Rotarian VR Muthu of Rotary Club of Virudhunagar, District 3212, with an amazing 37 years of Rotary services. We all know him as a chairman of VVV Sons and Edible Oils Limited. DGN Muthu, being a sportive sponsor of various Rotary service projects, a very good recognizer of students' community, he opens the wisdom by conducting training programs every month since July 2014. DGN Muthu participated zonal meetings held in the year 2017 at Atlanta, Georgia, USA, and a member of Paul Harris 711 Club. His personal achievements include Businessman of the Year 2018, awarded by Tanjore Chamber, Kamal Patra Young Achiever Award by Junior Chamber for Professional Excellence in 1993. He was recognized as Doctor of Letters by International Economics University in 2019 as well. He is a proud holder of Bharat Ratna, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award, and an organizer for Guinness World Records. I take immense pleasure to welcome him today. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Rotarian Shiva Shankari. It's a pleasure to be here at Chennai. Hello, President
Yes, sir.
Sharat Kumar, and the chief guest of the evening, AKS TRF Trustee Geeta Manik from District 9212, who also happens to be a PDG, and facilitators, my good friend, Rotarian Vasanthi Ranganathan, who is going to talk on emotions Gandian way. Then we have Miss LALITHA Murali, who will be speaking on educator's journey as a peace builder. And we have PDGs Rekha Shetty, PDG Sam Babu, and some more PDGs as well, I can't see. And my good friends, Rotarian Selva is here, Rotarian Liaquat Ali is here, and my dear friends from all over the world, not just Chennai. It has been a great evening to meet you all. My dear friends, thanks for the opportunity to inaugurate this wonderful meeting. Let me share some of my thoughts. I believe that achieving peace is a continuous journey. It's a continuous journey. One must meditate to achieve peace. Emerson said that nobody can bring you peace but yourself. There is another quotation that gives me some idea, and that goes like this. My dear friends, if you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. Only if you are at peace, you are living in the present. So, as a businessman, if you say I've been a successful businessman, I have a point. The only technique I have been using in my business is living in the present. When I live in the present, I am very peaceful and I can do my best. I would say the activity on hand must be done in the best possible way. Forget the past, don't worry about the future. Then you are very peaceful, you can work on what you do. My dear friends, you believe me, I don't have a very big goal. Normally, management educators, they say you must have a target, you must have a goal and all that. But my dear friends, I don't have a big goal. I don't know my target, but I believe in one thing, and that is continuous improvement. I believe in Sevana Tirundachai. I believe in Jo Kaam Karte Ho, Use Thik Tarah Se Karo. That is one thing I believe in. We achieve only when we have passion in what we are doing. I'm very impressed with one slogan that says, I tell the students, I tell my friends, I tell Rotarians that if you want to achieve, you have to remember this. Do the job you love. You don't have to work a day in your life. I repeat, do the job you love. You don't have to work a day in your life. My dear friends, when you do the job you love, there is peace. You are happy, you are satisfied, then you are passionate. I believe in another quote, which has to say that 1,000-mile journey starts with a simple step or a single step. My dear friends, you don't have to hurry up. You don't have to hurry up at all if you want to be successful. You must be peaceful if you need success. Where there is peace, there is bliss. Where there is bliss, there is energy. Where there is energy, there is enthusiasm. My dear friends, we achieve great heights when we are enthusiastic. My dear friends, only when we are at peace, we can achieve anything at all. So peace is vital for achievement. Peace is vital for success. And my dear friends, we have to motivate our children. We have to educate our children in such a way that peace, or even I would say non-violence, is given the most importance. So with these few words, I'm very happy that I have been given this opportunity. I'm very happy to inaugurate this seminar, ABCD of Peace. I wish the organizers, I wish the seminar a grand success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, DG and VR Muthu, sir. Thank you so much. That was an inspiring speech. Moving on, Rotarian Vasanthi Ranganathan, an ambassadorial scholar, 1983, did her management studies at UConn, United States. A Fulbrighter East-West Center awardee and also bestowed with many awards from the US government for her impeccable community service. The latest being the Outstanding Alumni Award in the year 2018 at Seoul. She is a professional career guidance counselor and a doctoral candidate interned at the Radford High School for students in the military base at Honolulu. She has offered several workshops for teachers throughout India, free of cost and across the world. Tinaipalli is her favorite, close to her heart project, which she's been closely working with several clubs, districts, and the Rotary Club of Guindy. Currently, she is the alumni chair of our district 3232. Without much ado, I take the pleasure in welcoming Rotarian VASANTHI Ranganathan to share her thoughts on non-violence behavior and the Gandian way of living. Welcome, ma'am. The floor is yours.
Thank you and good evening. I'm so happy to be a Rotary alumna because of Rotarians who the world over every day are reaching out, installing Rotaract clubs, Interact clubs, Rilarians, ambassadorial scholars, peace scholars. This kind of magnitude of investing in people makes Rotary a lovely entity of investing in people, the expertise that will help us all to reach out and share our skills and our feelings with all people. Today, it's a real pride to share some thoughts on non-aggressive behavior, to express anger. This must be taught in the classroom, especially because today a lot of us are not able to handle our emotion properly and express it violently. We will start some screen sharing, and I request you to think about the questions that are posed so that you can take this back into your classroom. I'm going to start off by sharing just one thought that comes from Telugu poetry. It says, no pinchaga, tan novaka. That means you should not be hurting others and you should not allow yourself to be hurt. If you're able to manage that, then you have really been successful in living a peaceful life. You see, there are two things in people's minds that allow somebody to express in terms of behavior. One is the head and the other is the heart. What makes you feel good? What makes you feel bad? What are the kinds of thoughts that trigger off these kinds of feelings inside you? Can I become self-aware? This is something that teachers in the classroom must tell their students probably by age 10 or 11, because children start feeling that they are becoming independent. They must have freedom from all authority, be it their parents or teachers. But they need to start to look at themselves, or else what will happen is they will allow either the thought or the emotion to overrun. And if they engage in any violent behavior, they end up being in prison or in a gang their entire life. Therefore, my dear teachers, you are extremely important in helping your students think about the head and the heart. And there are a series of questions that will help you initiate a few activities in the classroom. Now, there is a little circle on the side. What should you be aware of to recognize how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way? I'm wearing a new sari. My husband didn't notice, so I get upset. Sometimes I'm saying something and my friend doesn't notice. I get angry. All these come from inside you. So therefore, can you start looking at why is it that you are feeling that way? Why is it? And become more aware of your feelings. Now remember, sometimes we say, please come, but the face is all ugly. So remember, your feelings are expressed in your body language. Now let's do a little activity thinking of body language. Hold your pointing finger and thumb together and put it on your Chin. If you put it, how many of you have put it on your chin? I don't know. Because I said chin and you should have put it here. But I put it on my cheek. And my behavior is noticed first, not my voice. Therefore, as teachers, can I be comfortable in the classroom, being aware of my own feelings and teach my children to also become aware of their feelings first, because it gets expressed in the body language.
Yeah, please.
Now, what is triggering the feeling? The feeling is triggered by the thought. Now, how do I put thoughts inside the head of my student? What are the kinds of activities that should go on in the classroom? I want you to also remember that Gandhiji was called as somebody who was a non-violent person. And India has been labeled as a country which brought in this concept of non-violence. But if you looked at Gandhiji, there was a whole lot of violence around him. He was able to be assertive, non-aggressive, and comfortably deal with the powers to be. Being assertive and non-aggressive is the best form of expressing anger, of expressing discomfort, of expressing violence. I'm not saying you should be adamant, but you should know how to express your feelings in a non-violent manner. Today we have a brother striking the other brother and somebody dying, or a teacher hitting somebody and the student dying. Should we use force, or should we develop other things, other kinds of expressions of behavior? So when I start doing activities in the classroom, I'm going to ensure that people become aware of their own self. How would I do that? Mirroring is a beautiful technique. When you stand before a mirror, you see your face. And you can kind of adjust, let's say, your powder, your hair, your dress, and so on and so forth. So can we look at ourselves and look at our behaviors and be aware that our behaviors matter? How do I do this in the classroom? Have students in small groups of 2 or 3. Help them talk about why they feel uncomfortable, why they feel angry. I'm angry because my dad refuses to allow me to go out. And today, remember, all of us have to live in a small space, in restricted spaces, facing a disease which we are not able to control. We have to share resources which seem to be very small. And therefore, in our eagerness to get something, sometimes we become violent. Therefore, our students today who have been for many, many days, many weeks at home, not with much of discipline maybe. Online classes are great, but we really do not know whether they are logging in and listening. When they come into the classroom, my dear teachers, you have to help them discipline themselves, get in touch with their feelings, and express them in a non-violent way. Thank you for the opportunity, and please keep in touch if you like to have any specific activity for any level of students in the classroom from classes 1 to 12 with us. When you are expressing anger, self-talk helps. Look at that, dispute and debate with yourself. Think of vignettes where you have violence against self. If you see, let us say the earlier movies, when the women felt they could not fight with their husband, they just hit themselves. Suicide happens because it's violence against one's own self. And then you have aggression with others. Therefore, you need to do a lot of self-talk and understand some of these vignettes, and these can be enacted in the classroom as a little piece of drama. Remember, your mom doesn't work here. And when you raise the children, today being at home, they might have gotten into a lot of activities where they will just leave things around. And today, when we decide to hire people for the workforce, for their careers, we want performers. We want persons who can be responsible for themselves. So you must help them understand that the law of attraction is a crowd puller. And who will be able to attract? A person who is assertive, a person who can cryptically say what he or she doesn't wants to say, and listen carefully. Remember, Gandhiji was sitting in a little jail room in Pune, and he had the entire country walking. He had masses of people walking and facing the beating in the Dandi March. You know why? He listened. And that US students must learn. Now, war and peace go together. There's a whole lot of war. Today, even as a country, there is threat of war. Smaller spaces, more or the same people. Every day I have to see the same people inside this room. And especially if you're in quarantine, it's much more difficult, more controls. And use of technology means we are losing the personal touch. Teachers, please think of how you will get that personal touch, how you will ensure that the child feels it's not just the robotics and the machines, it's you as a human being who's reaching out to them. Self-regard. You must like yourself if you have to be good. You must develop yourself if you love yourself. That love of self should be something you should be teaching every one of your students. Now, non-aggressive behaviors must be modeled by you. You as teachers in the classroom, kindly don't get frustrated. Don't scream at the top of the voice. Ensure that you make your own students some class leaders, or let them start off the class. Like today, Guindy started with a 4-way test and things like that. They had a theme for the year, joy of giving, and they had a thought for the day. Ensure that your students participate in all these kinds of things, and you ensure, like our DG and Muthu said, that you are at peace with yourself before you enter the classroom. It's like changing the dress. Men, you know, normally in my country, they get into a lungi when they get home, and they get into a suit when they get to work. Like that, when you get to school, you must leave behind all the frustrations from home, and you should model the non-aggressive behavior that you want to see in your students. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vasanthi ma'am. We are more than happy to listen to you as always. And moving on, I would like to recognize the presence of a few district officials, PDGs here. DGN Azab Azrat, District 9212. Welcome, ma'am. GGR Rotarian Commander L. Radhakrishnan. District Vocational Director Rotarian Devendran. Charter President Rotarian D. Selva Kumar from District 3000. RC Trichy Phoenix. PDG Rekha Shetty, ma'am, welcome. Rotarian Mangala Jayachandran, Director of Special Education, Lady Andal Venkateswaraya School. IPP Rotarian Rajesh Narang from RC Towers. GGR Bhavesha from Madras Midtown. Kalpana Kaud, RC District Burgha, Assam, District 3240. We have a Peace Scholar Swapna Nair, year 2000, GSC. Welcome. PDG Sam Babu. District Officer J. Mujesh and District Secretary Rotarian Ramesh. Thank you all so much. Moving on to the next agenda. Not everybody can be famous, but everybody can be great because greatness is determined by service. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. By Martin Luther King Jr. Here comes our next facilitator, Mrs. Lalitha Murali, a peace scholar. And to introduce her, may I call upon Rotarian Satyanarayanan, our Vocational Service Director 2020-21.
Okay, good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce to you all Ms. Lalitha Murali, a gifted and a talented teacher of a public school in Wisconsin, United States. When she started her job as a teacher, she noticed that there were only a handful of immigrant and minority children in the gifted programs. Ms. Lalitha's belief is that given the right resources and experiences, every child can reach his or her true potential. Through starting educational outreach programs and organizing workshops, She started to reach out to underrepresented groups in the school, and today she has a strong advanced level programming for all her students where more minority and immigrant children are participating. Ms. Lalitha was chosen as one of the top 20 women of influence in her state for her educational leadership in the year 2017, and also as one of the top 21 International Rotary Peace Fellows last year, and she had spent 3 months in Thailand. During a recent visit to Thailand as a Rotary Peace Fellow, she conducted an anti-bullying workshop for Rotaract students, who in turn are planning to visit local schools to educate children about the dangers of bullying. She also organized a college-ready workshop for Indonesian students to promote the importance of higher education. Since 2015, she's been conducting workshops for teachers and students in India on various topics, ranging from youth advocacy to teaching strategies to build resilience. Ms. Lalitha, along with her 2 daughters, started a non-profit organization called Beetroot, and through which they empower youth to create community-level change by tackling problems at their root. Together, they've conducted over 25 workshops for youth across United States, in the states of Arizona, California, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Native American reservations, and other parts of the globe, which include India, Thailand, and Indonesia. As an International Rotary Peace Fellow, she wrote a paper about the underrepresentation of immigrant and minority children in the Schools Gifted program, and how educators can be more inclusive to close the excellence gap. She presented a paper and shared her findings with other educators in Wisconsin on various professional gatherings. She also had the opportunity to present her work at several Rotary clubs in Bangkok. She wrote blogs for Rotary newsletters, presented on weekly basis about her educational philosophy and the current educational issues that she faces in her work with other peace fellows around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you all, Ms. Lalitha Murali. Over to you, ma'am.
Namaste, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you to all the Rotarians. Work like ours cannot happen without your help. My name is Lalitha Murali. I'm originally, I'm Madrasian, Tamilian, and we have been living in the US for the last 20 years. I would like to start, thank you for the wonderful introduction. And we live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is one of the most segregated city in America. So today, first of all, we know Teachers' Day is coming up. Best wishes to all the teachers, so we all make a difference, so you all should be proud to be in this noble profession, unless you are dedicated, you will not sign up for this profession. What does diversity mean to you? You might think that, oh, we are in India, so where all the kids look the same. No, diversity means different, What does diversity mean to you? So a couple of the educators have shared that being able to learn from people from all walks of life, it's more than just integration. Diversity exists when you go above and beyond being aware of differences or accepting differences to the point of including people who are different from you. And diversity is learning from our differences to make the whole community a better place, being different without being divided. Here in America, you might see, Asian people and white people and black people, we see colors. But when compared to, other countries like India, Indonesia, even it not only looking at the skin color, so how different walks from different areas the kids are coming up, from affluent community, so the poor community, so diversity exists in every walks of life. Next slide. Always teachers complain that, oh, there are, uneven student achievement, so we have only rich and affluent kids are performing really well and poor people are not performing. And then especially in countries like India, there are no awareness of gifted education, Gifted education is basically those children who have the highest potential. If they are properly trained and given opportunities, they can be the next Newton, they can be the next scientist, so this is the opportunity only teachers can provide. When my daughter, my younger daughter started to read when she was 3 years old, luckily she was put in a Montessori classroom. Her teacher recognized her talents, so today, both my daughters are in medical school, they are in 2-3 years, they are going to be doctors. That everything was possible because of the teachers who recognized their potential, at an early age, and they were trained accordingly. Next slide. Usually people say that, oh, gifted children are rule followers. If there is a good child, the child will never misbehave. And they always excel. Only the children who are not gifted, who are not interested in education, they will be disruptive in the school. Those are all myths. I would like to start with a story. I had a student. So usually what teachers do, if a child is disrupting, immediately he or she will be sent to the office. Okay, you are disturbing the class, please go to the office. And whenever I was going to the office to check my mail or talk to somebody, I was noticing a child who was a 4th grader, African-American boy, sitting in the office, very charming boy. Then I said, why are you sitting here? And he said, oh, I was disturbing, the teacher sent me here. He was just sitting there, Out of curiosity, I checked his folders. I noticed that that child was performing above average. Then I was wondering, maybe this child could be gifted, so maybe the classroom instruction is not enough for him. That's the reason he is actively, disrupting because he wants attention. So I contacted the classroom teacher and I said, I'm going to take him in my gifted and talented classroom. That completely changed the perspective, the behaviors, everything of the child. When he felt that when he was challenged according to his potential, and when he was noticed by a teacher, recognized for his potential and talent, that child this past year received the Black Excellence Award, and he is going to a college with 100% full scholarship, So it is just one small thing of noticing a child. Why is this child disrupting? He's a smart kid. There is something else going, So that is the one thing that teachers have to notice. Next slide. What can we do? What is our responsibility? We have to incorporate a variety of perspectives into our own teachings. We need to offer students new ways of looking at subjects. Diversity is the exploration and incorporation of these differences to enrich learning in our classrooms. Next slide. So where are we now? Especially I'm just talking about in US, there are only very few, even in US, only few districts, they are recognizing the talents of culturally diverse students and then including them in the gifted programs. Automatically, that is the stereotype saying that, oh, this Black child, he's a Black, he's not smart. And he's a Hispanic child, he's not smart. So the Native American children, So as a teacher, educator, I believe that every child is gifted. Every child, given proper opportunity, every child can be successful. So when you look at the data, Black, Hispanic, Native American students are underrepresented in gifted education programs nationwide. And the underrepresentation ranges from 50 to 70%, that is really sad. Next slide. How can you compare, all the 2nd graders, irrespective of their preschool experience? If there is a rich family, that family will send the child to an outstanding preschool program. So that starting from at the age of 4, these children are sent to Kuman, or Mathnasium, or Best Brains, or Abacus, different programs. Those kids get trained, So by the time they start school for kindergarten or 1st grade, those children are already ahead in math and reading. That doesn't make them smarter than the rest of the kids who are homeless, who never went to a preschool, So a teacher cannot label a child gifted based on his, background knowledge. You have to start from the beginning, saying that, equal opportunity should be given before you compare children. What can you do? You have to use the low norm, So if you are a rich school, because definitely in India, there are schools like that, where Azan Memorial, or, I'm just making this up, some private school, ex-private school, and they have teachers and they have resources, and their children might perform when compared to national level 98 percentile, so you can recognize those children as gifted. But when you compare to a local government school, where they don't have any resources, but still there are children with a lot of potential. How are you going to compare those children? You don't need to compare them to a national level 98 percentile. In your school, if the highest is 75, 80%, you know, recognize those children who are scoring in the 80 percentile as gifted children. You have to compare the children using your local norms. That means local norm, you know, according to your school, who are the top students who are performing? What can I do as a teacher to empower these students? You know, that is how you have to notice. You should not compare that, oh, so-and-so rich school district, their children are getting 98 percentile. My students in my school are getting only 80 percentile. So they are not gifted. No, that is not the way. You have to look at your school and your local norm and identify the children who are performing in the top 5, 10%. Does every school have a GT classroom? No, but we need to serve all our students. When we use the local norm, we can avoid, we can say that, oh, we have gifted program, we are servicing, we are providing opportunities to the top 25% or 10% of our school, you know, so you don't need to compare other school districts. Next one. Balancing excellence and equity, that is peace in education. It is okay to have different GT programs. If it is a rich school, they might have a robotics, you know, because they are able to buy the robotics programs. But if you are a poor school district, you don't need to have hi-fi programs. You can have something, there are so many programs that are free, you know, for teachers or students to use. You know, you can offer those opportunities to your students. So as educators, we need to provide resources regardless of race, ethnicity, family income. And when we compare students, we need to compare students based on their background experience and the environment, you know, not at the national level. The school district where I work, Glen Hills Middle School, we have more than 55% of minority and immigrant children. So only 30 to 40% the white affluent children we have. So what I did was I started an enrichment program for the top 25%. That means if a child has scored 75 percentile or above in my school, that child will be invited to my classroom to participate in extracurricular activities. So when there is a Black or immigrant child without any resources, any support at home, has scored 75 percentile, and I have a rich gifted child, you know, so rich from a rich family who had wonderful experiences, who scored 98 percentile. I have that child in my classroom. So when that 75 percentile child come to my classroom, that attitude towards him by the gifted child changes. Oh, I thought he's not smart. He's smart. He's in my class. So his attitude changes. Similarly, the other student who scored 75 percentile, he would think that, wow, I am in class with so-and-so. We know, everyone knows that he's the smart student. So I must be smart. That is why I am in Mrs. Murali's class. So by end of the year, the student who scored 75 percentile, he would be scoring about 90 percentile. Just getting that feeling that he is smart, he is with other smart students in the school, in a class, that itself is enough for the child to perform above and beyond of his potential. You know, so that is one thing you can do. That's what I'm doing in my school. Next slide, what can you do as educators? Many schools do the IQ testing to see that, you know, whether the child is gifted or not. IQ will not work for English as a second language students, you know. And again, you know, even within America, northern side people use different vocabulary than the southern side people. And for water fountain, they say something else, you know. So it doesn't mean that if you don't know that you are not smart. Similarly, kids who are coming from Indonesia or India or, you know, many other countries, when they come to America, they might not know all the vocabulary words that are being used by American children. It doesn't make them less intelligent. So how can you create a culturally competent learning environment? You need to be aware of your own implicit bias, you know, so, oh, he's Black, he cannot be smart. What I do as an educator, because in America, library cards are free to every child, every resident that lives in the community. So you go and get a free library card. You can check out even 100 books for free to keep for 1 month, and you can extend it, you know, to for another 1 month. So you get free resources from library, any type of books that you can get. So I take my students who come from, you know, EL students, kids who's or very basic in English who come from different parts of the world. So I take them to a local library and I get them a library card, and then I ask them to check out the books, and then I return it, so that is one opportunity I do it. And when I do that, many minority Black children say that, oh, my parents work in McDonald's or stores. By the time they come home, the library is closed, Ms. Murali. So I take out what kind of books you want. So I make a personal trip to the library to get the books the child want. I bring it back. When the children notice that the teacher genuinely cares for them, their attitude towards you completely changes. So twice a year, I conduct programs. I invite the community members to, conduct a resume, career fair, citizenship, leadership camps, for free, and provide breakfast and lunch free for children, and give t-shirts to educate them, to give them different opportunities to learn. And so that is another thing I do. Another thing I notice is when I invite a Black or, immigrant child to come to my gifted and talented classroom, they are not comfortable because when he goes back to the classroom, other Black children are making fun of them. Why are you acting like white? We are not smart, so because they are intimidated by, oh, why is this child is going to Ms. Murali's class? So even they have that kind of bullying happening in schools. So the child will stop coming to my class, because he doesn't want to be recognized as nerdy among his Black friends. So those are all some problems I face, so then I invite the parents and I have a conversation. I say that, look at Obama, our president, so past president, and how did he reach to that position? You are capable of doing that, but you should not worry about how the community is thinking about you. You have the potential, and if you work hard, you can one day become the president of this country. And that kind of motivation can only be given by educators. So next slide, family involvement. I just talked about family involvement. So now we are going to watch a little YouTube video. Please notice how a teacher has transformed a child. So this is a YouTube video. This is very, very powerful, that when a Black child, with so much disturbance, he comes to the classroom thinking that by intimidating the teacher, he's going to be sent to the office. He's a gang leader. But the teacher gives him, she says, wow, you have a charisma, so I'm sure this is the first day, you must have, lost your way to come to my classroom. That's why you are late. And that's okay, can you be the classroom greeter? He says, what is greeter? She says, oh, you have to come before everyone comes, and then you have to handshake every child who's entering my classroom. So he's very happy, and then he comes because the very first time a teacher has recognized him, given him importance, and she said, you not only greet everybody enters the classroom, and also the first 5 minutes is yours to talk about your feelings and experiences in the class. That completely transformed the child, who has become a very good TED Talk speaker now, and who has become an educator now to make a difference. So he talks about how the teacher has completely transformed him. So that is the YouTube video. Maybe I will share the screen with maybe I can ask the Rotarians to share my PowerPoint with other teachers who are interested.
He has come back. He has come back, ma'am. He has come back.
I just mentioned that 10 years ago, when I started as a gifted and talented teacher, we were serving only the top 2% who have scored 98 percentile in our district. Today, I serve the top 25% in my school. And how did we do that? Just by one teacher's motivation, that you can do it. And then our children are winning state and national competitions. Our school, people call that the Glen Hills Ghetto School. That means all Black children, it is the ghetto. This school cannot be the top school. But we completely changed. Our students for the last 5 years are winning every competition that we enter. We have the potential. Every child is gifted. And, so I have a couple of pictures in my slide to show that what different competitions we have participated and how this really helped. So in the, not only I work in the school, as an educator, I feel like I'm not an educator just for my school. I am an educator for the whole community. So in the summer, when I noticed that the inner city children, they could not get in America, every school, public school is funded by the community taxpayers' money. So if there is a school district, public school that in the suburban where the community members are doctors or engineers, they are paying a lot of taxes, then that school has a lot of resources. They can afford to give every child a computer, but there are inner city, those children do not get any computers. So because of COVID, when schools were closed in March, these children never had any education because no computer, no contact. So some children were given some packets of worksheets. None of them did it because they were not made accountable and there's no one at home to teach them. What I did was I just contacted a couple of the high school students and then I provided instruction. I reached out to my local Rotary Club, so they were able to sponsor 12 Chromebooks, immediately. And then I distributed to the center and then we were able to teach over 100 students, just high school students teaching some middle and elementary school students.
Anything's going on between the hours of 8 and 3 is gonna happen in school. So I didn't wanna miss it. So that was my little motivation for school, to go to school, because I didn't wanna miss anything. And I walked in Miss P class, that's what I call it, Miss P class late.
My name is Donna Porter and I teach public speaking at Picayune Memorial High School in Picayune, Mississippi. I sat back and thought about it. When you late to something, everybody looks at you. And all of a sudden the door flings open and this huge student that I've never seen in my life walks in and says,
"What's up?" And she looked and I said, "What's up?" And I just had the attention of the class that fast.
My first thought is, why did this happen to me? On the first day of school when I'm trying to set the tone. And then I thought, I've got this. Thank goodness I've got this. But to be able to access my brilliance, I have to take a deep breath, stay composed, and watch him, look at his nonverbal language, because all behavior is purposeful.
She said, "Well, I noticed you're late to my room. There's no problem because you probably couldn't find it." I just kind of looked at her with this crazy look like, yeah, whatever. And then she was like, "Well, have a seat." And I looked at her, I said, "Do you have any kids?"
And I said, "Well, actually, your name is DJ, Mr. Baptiste. I have 2, and I just informed the class about it, but because you missed my room, you didn't hear. So are you married?" he said. And I said, "Actually, I just told the class I've been married for 30 years.
I stepped back and said, 30 years? Folded my arms, looked up and down and said, "Don't you think it's time for a change?" Now, at that point in time right there, I expected her to get red in the face, lose her composure, run to her desk, get a referral, write me up and send me out. I was ready for that. That's what I expected. And now that I've learned the brain seeks patterns. So that was the pattern that my brain was seeking. You be disrespectful, you get sent out of class, but you get the attention that you want. She didn't do that. She looked at me, she smiled and said,
"Do you go to the doctor when you're well?" And he looked at me very funny and said, "No, you go when you're sick." I said, "Do you come to school when you know everything?" He said, "I guess not. I guess you come supposedly to learn." I said, "Well, you've got a lot to learn and I can't wait to teach you." And then I left him with that feeling of angst. And then I said, "You know what I noticed more importantly about you? You have charisma."
Charisma? She was like, "Do you know what that means?" I said, "I'm cute." And everybody in the class laughed. And she was like, something like that. She was like, "But you just know how to work a room, And I said, I was just listening to her. She was like, she threw me off because she started talking good about me after I wanted her to get into a power struggle with me. That's what I wanted.
And I said, "So I've been thinking in the last few seconds, I give jobs to my students in high school. Do you know anything about jobs in school?" He said, "Oh yeah, in kindergarten, I was the line leader." I said, "We don't have a line leader in high school, but we have appropriate jobs. And I usually take a week or so to figure out what job would best fit what student. I do a multiple intelligence survey, and we tell a little bit about ourselves. But you know what, DJ? I don't need to do all that with you, because you're innately designed to be a greeter." He's like, "A greeter? What's that?" And I said, a greeter is someone that will stand at my door every morning.
As everybody come in, I get to shake everybody's hand, appropriately hug the girls. That threw my mind off. And then she said, on top of that, I get to come in front of her class and have my own session for 2 to 3 minutes. How does that sound? That's what she said. I said, it sounds too good to be true, so let me run it back to you. I said, so you mean to tell me I get to stand outside your classroom, shake everybody's hand who comes by, then on top of that, I get to come in front of the class and have my own session? She was like, yeah. I said, well, I want, you know what I'm saying, I want to try this. She was like, but it's one catch. And I remember I dropped my head like I knew it was something, you know.
All you have to do is be on time.
Because if you're my greeter, that means you have to be the first one here so everybody get a chance to see you and shake your hand before they walk in my classroom. And I just remember shaking my head like, all right, I try this, you know. I see what it's something here I can't tell yet, but it was something there, and I just remember thinking I try this. And she said, okay, pick up your backpack that you threw down and go have a seat. And that was the first day of my new life.
Day 2, I'm standing in the hall and I see this mass of people just parting, and the only figurative language I can think of is Moses parting the Red Sea. And here comes this huge guy, and I hear these words that are so important for anybody watching this video. Everybody move out of my way. I've got to get to Miss Porter's class on time because, listen, I have a job to do. I have a job to do. A disconnected child is a discouraged child. He needed to be encouraged, and every day he stood from day 2. He had been in the criminal justice center, he had been expelled from the alternative school, he had been in school isolation, out of school suspension. Nothing worked. All he needed was to be encouraged. And he became my greeter. We usually have jobs just every 9 weeks, but by unanimous vote of the class, he became the year-long greeter because they felt nobody could do the job as well as DJ.
I feel like the experiences that I went through in my life was meant to happen so I can come back and help kids, help teachers understand. I feel like I have a gift that I need to share, a testimony that I would like to share, and I know I can help kids along with teachers. Oftentimes teachers get into it with students, they have problems with students because they don't have the skills. And I feel like anytime I can help a teacher get the skills, she has a chance to save a life. And I often tell teachers, I want you to have the same success story that Ms. Porter had. I want you to have that student that you walk down the aisle with to that graduation. I want you to have that student that say he owes his life to you. And the only reason she has that is because she had the skills of conscious discipline. So anything that's dealing with conscious discipline, I'm all for.
Yeah, so it's just to let you know that teachers have the power. And so I just talked about what we did this summer. So as Vasanthi madam said, you know, so in a Gandian way, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. Happy Teachers Day to everybody. Any questions? And there are so many resources, you know, so please reach out to me. You can get my email from the Rotary members, and I would be happy to share the free resources with all of you. And you are the change, you know, so in our community, you have the power to change our community, our students, to make a difference. And the last thing I want to say is there is no better place than Rotary to reach out. Your Rotary members are there to support you all the time. Today, whatever I do in my school is possible only through the Rotary Club in my neighborhood. You know, the North Shore Rotary Club members, they are gems, you know, so all the Rotarians, I love to say that they are gems. They are here to support you. And so just reach out to them, tell them what you want to do for the students, and they are there to help. Thank you everybody for the opportunity. Happy Teachers Day.
Ma'am, thank you very much. You can just mention your email into the chat box so that people can register that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lalitha Mohan, ma'am. That was a wonderful, interesting, and a thoughtful session. And I'm sure all our teachers who have been here for this evening will take note of the same and implement it in their career. I would like to recognize a few of the district officials here: DRFC Ambalavanan, District Officer Dhanashekar, PDG Dr. Saga, Rotarian Geraldine Lisbon Singh from District 3212, RC Yan City, Nagarkoil, Rotarian Sister Mishra, past District Secretary General from District 3262, Odisha, and few of the Brahma Kumaris here. Thank you so much for all your presence here. We had a contest, Thirst for Freedom, in our district. The topic was Inner Harmony, My Way, and handling peer pressure. Our ants and Rotarians participated enthusiastically, and there were a lot of entries, of which we would like to recognize few of them here. Annette Beryl David from RC Madras North, Rotarian Bhavesh Shah, RC Madras Midtown, Nitin Gulecha, and Sushila Mahavir, Rotarian Mahavir Gulecha from RC Noble Hearts, Rotarian Malli Srinivas from RC Utsa, Kapil Pandian from JPR SRR College, Annette Afra Farheen from Madras Central Aditya, Rotarian Dr. Anuradha from RC Guindy, Annette Sneha Venkat from Chennai IT City, Shalini Das from SIET College, Annette Komal Sirana, RC Chennai Noble Hearts, Smriti Narsiman and Shruti Narsiman from PSBB Schools. Congratulations to all the participants, and you will be recognized with a participation certificate and a memento that will be sent shortly to you. Can I have Vasanthi Ranganathan ma'am? She just wanted 1 more minute for her speech.
I think District 3232 is wonderful because the District Alumni Office is possible in every district across the world. And our district has this kind of an office, and I have this position. I hope every other district listening to this will go back and have an alumni office. Our district governor, Muthu Palniappan, has been encouraging us a lot. And I work under DRFC, Ambalavanan, and it's been a real rewarding experience. The movie Champion about students from North Madras was produced by my DG 1314 Kanna to talk about children from the socioeconomically not so good backgrounds who can still aspire and come up in life. So all alumni, all districts, please have this office so you gather all the alumni for using their expertise. Thank you very much, Kritika.
I would like to recognize Kalpana Gaud ma'am. Last year we had sent 200 relief boxes to the flood affected Assam. So she was the person who had coordinated the entire thing for us. Ma'am, thank you.
A good head and a good heart are always formidable combination. But when you add that literate tongue or a pen, then you have something really very special. By Nelson Mandela. True to this quote, we have our chief guest, aka PDG Geeta Manek, today with us. And to introduce her, may I call upon our Vocational Service Director, Satyanarayanan, 2020-21.
Sure. Good evening again. I take pleasure in introducing Arch Club Society member, PDG Geeta Manek, TRF Trustee, RA District 9212, Kenya. PDG Geeta was born in Kenya. While having a business education in UK, she acquired the flavor and aptitude for entrepreneurship. Multifaceted Ms. Geeta manages segments of a family business, family interest in retail trade and real estate. Ms. Geeta joined Rotary Club of Mutaiga, Nairobi, Kenya in the year 1997 and held various positions before becoming the club president during the year 2003-2004. Since then, she's been actively involved with Rotary, serving many country and district level positions like District GSE Officer, District Annual Giving Officer, Assistant Governor, and Country Chair, Kenya. Ms. Geeta is one among the 16 trustees of Rotary Foundation of RI, where the foundation supports projects of 35,000 plus Rotary clubs in 200 countries and regions, awarding hundreds of $millions. Ms. Geeta was the first female district governor serving in the year 2012-13. She was also the first woman regional leader overseeing more than 140 Rotary clubs in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Eritrea. She continues the fight against polio and has been an ardent supporter of Kick Polio Out of Africa. And as a Kenya coordinator, she raised substantial contributions for the districts towards the End Polio campaign. He continues to be a speaker at several international events and work closely with Zone Director on important Rotary matters pertaining to the region. Friends, we all know behind every successful woman stands a supportive man. Ms. Geeta is happily married to PDG Kaushik Manik, who is an active Rotarian, having served as District Governor for District 9200 between 2008 and 9. They are blessed with son Shamil, a professional in his own right, working in the fields of hospitality, transport, and finance. Ms. Geeta is a Rotary Foundation benefactor of Permanent Fund, member of Bequest Society, and an Arch Clump Society member. Friends, it's our pleasure having PDG Geeta Manik amongst us today to share our thoughts. Let's welcome PDG Geeta Manik.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for this privilege to be amongst all of you. President Sharath, Vasanthi, and all of you who have the silent ladies and gentlemen behind the scenes trying to organize this event. I want to thank each and every one of you. I have learned so much from the first speaker, the PDG, and Lalita. My goodness, you're a powerhouse. And learning from Vasanthi, for me, I'm amongst teachers and I'm learning, so you are successful. Thank you. Each speaker spoke with so much dedication and so much passion that, you know, I also want to be a teacher now because you can make so much difference. So thank you. I'm truly humbled to be with all of you today, career professionals, the teachers, the experts. And so please allow me at the onset to confess that I'm not an expert on this subject. However, I can share my thoughts and my individual experiences that I have, you know, experienced in my country during different times when we've had conflict. These conflicts always make you pause and they make you think, what could have gone wrong? What could we have done better? Why could we have not stitched in time to save the 9? These conflicts, most of the time, are avoidable. Whatever we do in terms of prevention is better than cure, as we all know. So if we can get to that critical part of knowing where the conflict arises from, I would like to emphasize that peace is critical to any progress. And when I was governor, the theme of the year for President Sakuji Tanaka was peace through service. And, you know, being from Japan and being very calm and collected, he shared with us his theme because he believed in it. It wasn't a requirement, but he believed in it. And what we learned from him was outstanding. So peace is fundamental to anything, any progress, any development. It's a prerequisite for success. And it's undoubtedly, without the presence of peace, you cannot have a successful society. So at Rotary, we know that all of us work with Rotarians to the work that Rotarians do for us to be effective, for us to be successful, for our areas of focus, for our activities in the communities, even to run the club politics or the district politics. If we don't have that fundamental basis for peace and understanding, we cannot succeed, and we cannot be the leaders that we claim to be. So I'm really, really proud to be a Rotarian of East Africa. I am humbled and honored that my district gave me all the opportunities to, you know, serve in different positions. And believe me or not, the group study exchange, I am so sad that it is no longer working because we have replaced it with vocational team training. But the GSC program was amongst the most enriching. It was one of the most effective programs that really created that understanding for culture, understanding for different communities as we traveled to different areas of the world. I was organizing the GSC for multiple teams coming in from USA, from India, coming in from South Africa, from all over the world. We had at any given time about 4 group study exchange teams coming in and going out. So working with them, seeing the difference when they leave our country for the first time, get on a plane, buckle up on the plane, and when they come back, you see the difference. It's phenomenal, and it's only just for a month. So you can imagine, and this is for adults. So ladies and gentlemen, the teachers amongst us, you are so special because you are the people who can make the difference to the young, influence the minds that are easily influenced. I cannot think of any profession that is so all-embracing, that is so fundamental to development than teaching. And because you have the power in your hands to talk to the children, to mold them, to craft them as a finished product. If you see that child who's now a young man in that very powerful video that Lalitha shared, I wish we could all just change one person at a time and we would change the world. Rotary and Rotarians, as you know, identify and train qualified professionals to become agents of peace. Rotary has invested amazing amount of money, very heavily in the area of peace, so that the world has that equal amount of understanding. We have the equity, you know, we're not always arguing. And Rotary has invested so much in the prestigious universities around the world, which leaves a very indelible, very unwavering commitment to peace and conflict resolution. Rotary is very strong. Each year we fund, at Rotary Foundation, we fund close to 130, 140 fully paid fellowships for dedicated students. To date, Rotary Foundation has paid for 1,300 fellows who work in the most influential positions in the world, in United Nations, the World Bank, all sorts of institutions that advocate policy change, advocate all sorts of government requirements. So Rotary really believes in peace. Rotarians and donors, with their boundless generosity, have made this possible. And at this moment, I would like to thank PDG, who spoke before us. It is his contribution. It's the contribution of the smallest. There is nothing like small contribution to the Rotary Foundation. The smallest contribution goes into this big pot. We don't know whose dollar is paying for the fees of the student at the Peace University. So every donation to the Rotary Foundation really, really matters, especially in the area of peace. Of course, we are all passionate about education. We're passionate about community and economic development. We're passionate about mother and child. We're passionate about preventive diseases. But we can't do any of those if we don't have the basic fundamental of peace in our society. So I want to thank and acknowledge every donor to the Rotary Foundation for making this happen. The passionate students who make it happen, who run with the education that they have acquired. This education is what changes the world. And we're so privileged to be part of the success of the students who actually bring success to communities. They make sure that a lot of major conflicts are averted in the various parts of the world. And what Lalitha talked about diversity, I was so happy that she addressed diversity in its holistic way, because diversity to a lot of us is either age or its color or its race or gender. That's it. But diversity is so profound. It's so much more than, what we generally talk about. And I had to talk on diversity just last week to a group of South Africans who have gone through their own history. It was not an easy subject, but I also understood how profound diversity is, and what's happening around the world. We really need to work much harder at understanding diversity and providing that platform for peace. Rotarians do a wonderful job. They hold workshops, they hold trainings, programs that support peace leadership. We have peace symposiums before most conventions. Some Rotary International presidents insist on having a peace conference in different parts of the world. At Rotary, we support education for the youth in very constructive ways to prevent and manage and transform areas pre-conflict, post-conflict, and during conflict. But what I loved about what Lalitha said, that those little minds, those young minds that are like sponges, they absorb all the good things. Let's get them as early as possible. Then we will avoid conflict as they grow up. And I love that idea. As we address peace, you know, we're actually bringing people out of darkness into light. And it is a duty of every Rotarian to make sure that we try and exchange ideas, create groups, work in action groups, work with or participate in peace symposiums wherever we can. I'm sure that you're all aware that Rotary International works with very strategic partners for its different areas of focus. And I'm privileged to be part. I was a member of the Basic Education and Literacy Major Gift Initiative. And then I have been the chair of Joint Committee on Partnerships. And recently I was the chair of Major Gift Initiative for Health. And when I was at the committee for Joint Committee on Partnerships, I was working with incoming President Sheikha Mehta. And we were fortunate enough to discuss and work with the Institute of Economic and Peace that Rotary International has participated and partnered with. And the Institute of Economics and Peace also brings out peace in a very multifaceted way. They talk about the 8 pillars of peace. This is IEP, as is known, is like a think tank. It helps Rotarians and of course the worldwide understand peace in a very scientific way, I believe. So we must not take peace for granted. They also help us create solutions, manage conflict, find common areas where we can build together and strengthen that common area, and you know, work on the areas where we disagree in a different way. The IEP has identified these 8 pillars of positive peace, as they call it, and that they really make a lot of sense to lay people, which we really take for granted. And these 8 pillars that I'd like to share with you are basic acceptance of rights of others. It's nothing more than listening to the other person, giving that person time. It's the second pillar is free flow of information. Let's keep it transparent. Let's keep it open, so you don't have a conflict. Let's invest in high level of human capital. That's the 4th pillar of positive peace. Of course, distribution of equitable resources fundamental, because mostly people are fighting for resources. In my part of the world, we are fighting for cattle, or we are fighting for land, or we are fighting for water, or we are fighting for anything. These are the major resources. Of course, in other parts of Africa, you're fighting for diamonds, but here we're fighting for basic items. And then, of course, maintaining good relations with your neighbors is extremely important, and that is one of the pillars of IEP. And most of all, which many of us, you people in India are very privileged, but in many parts of Africa, we do not have well-functioning governments. And that is another pillar that we all citizens, we are the people, this is our government, this is our country. We need to participate. We need to elect the leaders that are going to run. So a well-functioning government is also a very important pillar of peace. And Rotary works with all these areas, the pillars with the Institute of Economics and Peace. So as somebody said before me, Rotary is forever constantly in search of experts, best practices, but it's a constant effort. It's nothing that you can say, okay, so I worked on peace last week, I don't need to worry about it this week. It's a constant effort that we all have to make jointly, collectively and jointly. So during the challenging times that we are all going through at the moment, we all are grappling with the new norm as the virus brings the whole world to a halt. We must all make that extra effort intentionally to save lives, to save livelihoods, The consequences of the pandemic alone are devastating. But imagine if there is no peace. Imagine, just think what happened in Lebanon. It wasn't because of conflict, but something went drastically wrong. And, 50% of the population is suddenly below the poverty line. That's going to cause a lot of conflict. The consequences are really, really devastating if we do not have equitable health, if we do not have equitable jobs in the market, if we don't have equity in education, if we don't have equity all over the place, we will end up with even more serious consequences than this pandemic has presented to us. So I truly believe that each one of us really, really needs to work daily, constantly, consistently at just peaceful solutions within our community, building bridges rather than burning those bridges, because this is where we have got to cross and meet halfway. Friends, colleagues, teachers, influencers, you are the most revered people in our society. You are those change agents. Somebody mentioned about Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you want to see. You are the people who are going to transform thinking. You are the ones who are going to be molding the young minds. I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to encourage each and every one of you with the same breath that you are contributing to a very healthy, happy, peaceful society, which is extremely valuable for any sort of development. Please continue with the work that you're doing. It's fundamental. You do not need weapons to make peace. I think that we just need positive people, positive thinking, to and change agents like teachers, the faculty that you all work with. And universal peace is possible if all of us play our part. So the Rotary Club of Guindy and my friends and family of Rotary, thank you so much for organizing this wonderful workshop. These conversations are extremely important subject to continuously and constantly discuss. This is something we all have to work very hard at. And I want to appreciate every one of you. It's been great being with you, listening to the eminent and celebrated speakers before me, the talented and gifted Lalitha ji, DG and Muthu, and Vasanthi. Great being with all of you, and the Rotary Club of Milwaukee, Rotary Club of Addis Ababa West. That is my district governor nominee, Azeb Asret, who has accompanied me. And I'm really happy to be with you all. So thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, PDG Geeta Manak ma'am. We can't agree more on this, that teachers are above God, who can bring that real change in every child's life.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much. A special mention and thanks to all the teachers who have joined and graced this occasion. We are really humbled by your presence, and this program was specially designed and executed for you all. Can I have Rotarian Suchitra Sagar, mentor of Alumni Office, District 3232, to kindly propose the vote of thanks?
Okay, it's a pleasure to propose the vote of thanks today. What a lovely evening, meaningful and relevant topic, great speakers, and much to think about and implement by the teachers present here today. The way things are today, peace must be a way of life for the world to become a better place. Today, violence in schools, colleges, and in our community is common. In this scenario, today's discussion on peace initiatives in the classroom is a fantastic step in introducing practical methods and initiatives in schools through wonderful teachers here today. Rotary has always been empowering teachers in many ways. Today is one such example. I'm sure that the teachers here have greatly benefited today and will carry the inputs learned and acquired today back to their schools to make better students, children, and also better communities. We would like to thank AKS Rotarian Geeta Manak, the foundation trustee from Kenya, who readily agreed to be the chief guest and share her personal experiences and the importance and place of peace in today's world. Many thanks to DGN Rotarian VR Muthu of RI District 3212, the inaugural speaker, for having provided a great and a solid opening to a lovely meeting. Ms. Lalitha Murali, the think tank. Thank you for sharing your valuable experiences, and we have great things to learn from you today, and I'm sure our teachers will have lots to take home. Thanks to Vasanthi Rangarajan, the Rotary Alumni Chair, for her invaluable inputs on non-aggressive expression of anger. This entire program was conceptualized and put together by Vasanthi with great passion. Double thumbs up to you, Vasanthi. We appreciate the efforts of Rotarian Sridharan of Rotary Club of Guindy, who was involved in the promotion of the event over the last 3 months. MC Kritika Madhu of RC Guindy, excellent job, well done today, well conducted as usual. Rotarian Satya Narayanan, Vocational Service Director of Rotary Club of Guindy, thank you for your efforts in taking this event to teachers across many schools. Our sincere appreciation to Anne Sharada Sriram of Rotary Club of Madras South for promoting this event actively among teachers. Our thanks to President Sharat Kumar of Rotary Club of Guindy for his sincere efforts in setting up this program along with the district team. District governors, past, present, and future, teachers who are present here, Rotarians, and friends. Thank you all for attending. Have a great evening. Stay safe. Take care, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Rotarian Sagar.
Ma'am, Geeta ma'am, we are playing the Kenyan national anthem in your honor.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Nasi tuji towe kwangu nichie tu ya Kenya tunayopenda tumetari kulinda na tujenge taifa letu ndio wachawi wetu hii heshima tuungane mkono siku tuwe na shukrani.
Request President Rotarian Sharat Kumar to kindly adjourn the meeting.
Thank you one and all for attending this meet. Please stay back. You have the question and answers. Your friends who want to ask questions can raise their hand in the chat box and we will unmute you and you can ask. This meeting ABCD of peace is now adjourned. Thank you one and all.